Hello, blah blah blasters. Welcome to a new video of this special series that I am doing revealing all the secrets behind the production of RuPaul's Drag Race. Today we're going to talk about the 6th season. So let's start with all the juicy information right now.
When RuPaul kicked off Season 6 of RuPaul's Drag Race, the world wasn't ready for what would become one of the most iconic and emotionally turbulent seasons in the franchise's history. What's better than one big opening? Executive producer Tom Campbell recalled Ru saying, "Two big openings." That declaration set the tone for a season of reinvention, rebellion, and revelation. The two-part premiere began with a twist. The queens were split into two groups without warning. One group strutted into the workroom and launched immediately into a photo shoot and runway challenge, while the other half remained locked in hotel rooms, confused, isolated, and without any information. Seattle Queen Ben de la Creme was among the first batch. "I had never been in front of TV cameras before. I remember running out, being very nervous but being very excited," she said. "And then I saw a door. I felt like I clicked with a door immediately." That Adore was none other than American Idol Alumador Delano, whose punk energy and chaotic charm made her an instant standout. "I remember walking in and I was like, where the fuck is everybody? This is stupid," she said, laughing at the surrealism of the staggered entrance. Among the first group were also Gia Gunn, the unfiltered Chicago queen who would soon become synonymous with feeling my oats; April Carrion, the seductive Puerto Rican competitor; and Kelly Mantle, a Hollywood actor who, tragically, was the first queen to sashay away. Yet, even in the first moments, entrances mattered. None was more unforgettable than Vivacious, a Jamaican queen with a flair for the dramatic and a latex-wrapped mannequin head named Ornacia strapped to her scalp. The reveal was famously clunky, but instantly iconic. She couldn't find it, Adore recalled. "I said, what in the Michael Jackson?" And then everybody started laughing. Back at the hotel, the second group of queens, including comedy veteran Bianca Del Rio, Aussie glamazon Courtney Act, performance artist Milk, pageant queen Trinity K. Bonet, insult diva Darienne Lake, sweetheart Jocelyn Fox, and YouTuber Magnolia Crawford were left in the dark. "Literally. I did not know anything until the Monday after," Bianca said. "That whole time I was in my room sewing snaps on stuff." When they finally entered the workroom, they were greeted by lipstick graffiti, "Beware bitches," and half-eaten cupcakes. "I figured something was up," said Darienne. "It looked like a party had already happened and there were only 7 of us." Bianca, ever the razor-tongued realist, quipped upon entry, "I must be in someone's nose because this room is full of boogers." Later, she admitted, "They asked me what I'd say when I walked in and I just went with it. Turns out I was the first one in. That son of a bitch." As the two groups merged, the stage was set for what would become a simmering war of cliques, generational divides, and performance philosophies. Laganja Estranja, a dancing queen and Alyssa Edwards' protege, felt the twist hit hardest. "Why on earth is it my season they had to switch up the format that I have practiced so hard to win?" she lamented. Courtney Act's entrance immediately established her as a threat. "She's glamorous like RuPaul," Bianca admitted. "She's got this in the bag." But Courtney's polished presence and sly shade didn't sit well with everyone. Adore later confessed, "At the time I really didn't like Courtney. She was very condescending and gave backhanded compliments." Meanwhile, tensions rose around Vivacious's awkward but unforgettable reveal. "That was a magical entrance," said producer Mandy Salangsang. "An unexpected gift in the presentation. Ornacia is still one of the very best things to come out of Drag Race." Gia Gunn quickly became a divisive figure. Her sharp tongue and self-indulgence drew groans and iconic memes. She kept saying oats and berries. Adore laughed. "She explained it to me, but I forgot what it was." Bianca, never one to miss a punchline, snarked, "Gia is a magical creature," and emphasis on creature. But the real drama brewed between Laganja and the rest of the cast. Known for her over-the-top behavior, Laganja became the season's lightning rod. "Every morning we'd go into the workroom and she was having to make a big scene," Jocelyn Fox said. It got to the point where I felt like I was seeing a broken soul. Bianca was less sympathetic. Anytime I was around younger queens, I was always the one guiding people through it, she explained. When they came in, the Laganjas and the Gias, I was completely like, what the fuck? But Laganja was dealing with personal turmoil beneath the wigs and one-liners. After a surprise video from her parents, whom she believed had rejected her for doing drag, Laganja spiraled into an emotional collapse. I was just freaked out, it was horrible, she recalled. I had just been publicly humiliated. Everyone just told me they hate me. And so was born one of the most quoted lines in Drag Race history. I feel very attacked.
Yeah, I feel very attacked! Relax.
A breakdown that Laganja later turned into a merch empire. Now it's one of those memes in Drag Race history. I carried a whole line of, I feel very attacked merch, she said. To me, that is the ultimate win. By the time Shade the Russical rolled around, the queens had found their footing and their feuds. The challenge, a campy, Broadway-style musical parodying drag culture, brought out both brilliance and backstage breakdowns. Ben de la Creme thrived in the chaos. Cast as the villainous Shady Lady, she later recalled, I felt like I was really getting to mix it up and show different sides of myself. Jinx turned to me when we were watching and said, I'm so jealous you got to do this musical, this is the best. Courtney Act, meanwhile, was a natural. It was such an obvious decision to cast Courtney in the role of Good Penny, said Ben. She was already that person, so that was perfect. But Adore Delano, raw, charming, and unpredictable, admitted her insecurities. I was scared to go up against Courtney because she sounds like an actual cis woman when she sings, she confessed. And yet, Adore held her own. Despite having borrowed a wig from April Carrion and dishing out roles a bit recklessly, she still stole scenes. I was super reckless, she admitted, but I had fun. I mean, it was a moment. Not all queens had as much fun. Bianca clashed with Trinity K. Bonet during rehearsals. I thought I was helping, Bianca recalled. I didn't understand her reaction to it. I was just trying to find the best way to make it work, and she was just busy trying to say I'm wrong. Darienne Lake also struggled, feeling sidelined. By the time it got to us, there was no time left. Then Luciane said we didn't stand out. I'm like, 'cause you put me in the fucking corner in the dark, she vented. The generational divide was growing more evident. I learned that everyone doesn't think like me, Bianca said. The younger generation really expresses their feelings all the time. I don't want to hear it. Producers noticed the shift too. Because of social media, a lot of queens come now either totally clammed up, or they self-produce and offer storylines or produce fights, said producer Michelle Mish Mills. None of them is Meryl Streep. Just be yourself. Tension came to a head during the stand-up comedy challenge. While Bianca and Darienne shined, both having deep roots in live performance, others flailed. It was probably the hardest challenge, Adore said. I had the raunchiest, most before cancel culture jokes. But even back then they were like, you can't say that. Laganja's performance, however, was an accidental triumph in tragedy. I'm very lucky that mine was so bad it was funny and it became iconic, she said. I now sell merch with my entire comedy on it. People have grown to love that stand-up. Ben de la Creme, despite her comedy chops, had a meltdown. I was still crying backstage before I went on, she admitted. And then getting heckled by that audience member just made me dive off the stage. I was like, all right, let's cut our losses. The heckler, incidentally, was a recurring Drag Race extra, previously seen taunting queens in earlier seasons. That guy was the heckler from Jinx's season, said Adore. And then Bianca ended up attacking him and I was like, yeah, fatality. By the time the queens returned to the Untucked lounge, emotions had reached a breaking point. Bianca, holding receipts from earlier episodes, confronted Laganja again. Her story didn't add up, she insisted. So cut to us being in Untucked. I had to let her know she's full of shit. The conversation escalated quickly. It just felt like, oh my God, I have been duped and I'm an idiot and I need to go home and get out of here, Laganja remembered. I had just been publicly humiliated and everyone told me they hate me. What am I doing here? She ran out of the lounge, and with that, Drag Race Her Story gained another meme. I feel very attacked, she yelled between sobs. Laganja later reflected, I own exactly who I was. I went in there at 23 with a plan, and people can say that makes me fake. but I know my intentions. Ben Delacreme, who had once felt the weight of expectations herself, understood. She clearly came into Drag Race feeling like she had to perform a certain way. I felt similarly because of Jinx, Ben said. It was hard to watch somebody go through that publicly. Bianca, however, had no patience for pity. I didn't know she was really struggling, she admitted. I'm not good with pity to begin with, so don't ask me for pity. I'm not the one. If there was one duo destined to clash on Season 6, it was Ben Delacreme and Darian Lake. Their frenemy tension simmered throughout the season, but it finally exploded when they landed in the bottom together during the Cosmetics infomercial challenge. We thought we're doing a great job, Darian said. We're showing the product. I definitely didn't think we would be in the bottom. Ben, too, was caught off guard. Our concept was strong, but we had to make a decision. Are we selling the product or just making the funniest idea? We chose the wrong thing, she admitted. Their lip sync to Exposé's Point of No Return became one of the most memorable battles of the season. Darian thrived under pressure. I love that song, she said. To make Ru laugh, that's the goal. I'm taking tips. And it got a great reaction. Ben, on the other hand, struggled. I could not move in that dress, she said. I really wasn't expecting to lip sync tonight. My stomach fell into my butt. I thought I was going home. But in a rare double chanté, RuPaul kept them both. The rivalry continued brewing. After Ben's Snatch Game win, Darian snapped, "Somebody's getting a big head pretty quickly." Ben tried to brush it off. That just rubbed me the wrong way, but it didn't affect how I felt about her. Michelle Visage, meanwhile, tried to peel back Ben's layers. The issue is Ben, the human, is fully engrossed in Ben Delacreme when Ben transforms. She explained. We like to feel the crusty bits, the rough edges. That's what makes us fall in love with someone. Ben defended her approach. De La is a character. I'm not Ben in a dress, she said. If you want to know Ben, watch the confessionals. I'm trying to show you my art. As the glitter ball approached, a final runway bonanza, the stakes rose. Darian and Ben would face off one last time, this time lip-syncing to Kelly Clarkson's Stronger. The winner would advance to the top 4. Ben was gutted. I couldn't hear that song for a long time afterward, she said. I was really surprised. I was in the bottom. I knew Darian was incredible. So when I knew that I was going up against her a second time, I did not have high hopes. Darian, despite twisting her ankle, delivered. I love Kelly Clarkson, she said. I was definitely sad to see Ben go, but at the same time, you gotta crack a couple of eggs if you're gonna make an omelet. Ben's elimination sparked fan outrage. It felt amazing to have so many people rooting for me, Ben said. But I know Darian got a lot of hate. That was a really sad side effect, and I spoke up about it. Producer Mandy Salangsang noted how Season 6's rising visibility meant the stakes and scrutiny were higher than ever. Ben De La had been performing really well in the challenges and was really relatable to the expanding fan base. The final 4, Bianca, Adore, Courtney, and Darian, were tasked with a marathon final challenge. Record vocals, film AI, music video for Sissy That Walk, and perform live choreography. That was a physical fuck, Bianca recalled. Wind-blowing, seductive choreography on a treadmill. Oh girl, that's challenging for my old ass. Courtney shone as expected. Adore brought her raw energy. And Darian owned her niche. I knew I was different than everybody else. I'm the big girl. I've got my own little niche and nobody can compete with me on that, she said confidently. Bianca worried the glam-heavy challenge would send her packing. I thought this is it. I'm going home, she admitted. Then another twist. A lip-sync gauntlet. Adore vs. Darian, Bianca versus Courtney. But instead of eliminating one queen, Ru announced a top 3. That meant Darian Lake was out. I remember Mandy called me and said, "The good news is you don't have to make 2 dresses for the finale," Darian said. The bad news is you're not in the top 3. Courtney, Bianca, and Adore began preparing for the grand finale, without knowing who would win. We were top 4, and we had to wait months to find out who was in the top, Bianca explained. Each queen filmed a reaction to winning. A door fell for the ruse. They said the winner of RuPaul's Drag Race is Adore Delano. And I really started crying, she said. Then Michelle was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I was so red. And then I was so sad. Bianca knew something was off. They eliminated Adore. Then they eliminated Darienne. So by the time they eliminated me, I was just like, okay, whatever. This is fuckery. By the time the finale of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 6 aired, fans were already debating who should snatch the crown. Adore Delano, the scrappy punk princess with charm for days. Courtney Act, the polished pop idol. Or Bianca Del Rio, the seasoned insult comic who hadn't landed in the bottom once. Yet even the queens themselves didn't know who would win. Bianca recalled the chaotic finale taping. We were filming and they hadn't announced to the audience that we were going to do multiple winners. Ru says the time has come. She calls Adore Delano and I really thought, oh, that's it. Then they go, we're going to do multiple winners. Everybody's like, argh. They filmed versions where each finalist won, including a tie between Bianca and Adore. Adore was ecstatic, Bianca said. They said, "Bianca, how do you feel?" And I said, "I'm party." Backstage, the group text between Courtney, Bianca, and Darienne exploded. They told us off camera that Darienne wouldn't be in the top, Bianca recalled. We didn't have much time to process it. Bianca tried to stay grounded. Up until the end, I thought for sure Adore was going to win, she said. I didn't cry about my life. I didn't go through this caterpillar butterfly moment. I was just plowing through it. But for many fans and producers, Bianca was exactly what the franchise needed. Bianca is such a strong, fully developed entertainer, said executive producer Tom Campbell. She's tireless, a nice person, and a grown-up. She is a star, Michelle Visage agreed. I was the one who encouraged Bianca to audition, she said. Even if we pushed her and gave her a critique, she was like, okay. That's what was amazing. Bianca's humor masked a work ethic many admired. Every single challenge. Bianca would be the first one done with her makeup and then she would go to each queen and help them finish theirs, said Jocelyn Fox. She deserves Miss Congeniality. She really is a very kind person. Behind the scenes, much of Bianca's iconic commentary came through her confessionals, guided by producer Jacqueline Wilson. She could get the best out of me by phrasing a question properly, Bianca said. Any time I could make her laugh, I was set. Jacqueline, who later passed away from cancer, was remembered fondly. She was really my rock on the show, said Bob the drag queen. She helped humanize me. Bianca's old-school edge, filthy, fearless, and ferociously funny, stood in contrast to the increasingly filtered digital drag aesthetic. She grew up in the comedy clubs, said Stephen Korff. She is just an old-school filthy cunt, and that's why I love her. But Season 6 wasn't just about Bianca. Adore Delano captured hearts with her messy brilliance. She is fucking magical, Michelle Visage said. Her Latina pride, the ill-fitting clothing, the funny sayings. She is so lovable, Michelle. Mish Mills added. She is sweet. She is lovable. She gives the best hugs. And somehow, even when she's insulting you, it always comes off as funny. Even Bianca grew to adore her. As I got to know her, there's something about her that I love. She's charming and not annoying like some of the other contestants. Courtney Act, the ultra-polished Aussie queen, held her own. But even she felt some snubbed by the finale result. Bianca remembered. We walk out and go to meet our family and my phone rings. It's Courtney in her car going, they couldn't even include me in the fucking tie. In the end, though, it was Hurricane Bianca who reigned supreme. And post-Drag Race, she didn't slow down. Bianca toured globally, starred in musicals, wrote books, and launched her own film projects. She became one of the most successful queens in franchise history. Looking back, the cast marveled at what they'd been through. It was wild, said Bianca. I mean, I didn't realize how often I rolled my eyes, how many faces I made. But it's who I am. Jocelyn Fox summed it up best. Bianca is the perfect example of a drag superstar. She is so smart. She has that mean personality, but she is the sweetest person on the whole planet. La Ganja Estranja, too, found closure. Even in those dark moments, I am proud of them because they're part of Drag Race history. And to me, that is the ultimate win. Season 6 wasn't just a competition, it was a crucible, a chaotic, emotional, and unforgettable transformation that defined an era of drag and launched a new generation of stars. And in the eye of the storm was Bianca Del Rio. Sharp, smart, unstoppable. Yes, today, Satan,